Welcome to this very brief PowerPoint presentation intended to assist you with your mid-semester meetings with your supervisors. As you know, October 31st is your deadline for completing that assessment and submitting Part 3 of the Skills Assessment Tool to me via Canvas. This means that you need to schedule, conduct, and document those meetings in the next couple of weeks. And because I want you to do this thoughtfully, I suggest that you start preparing right now if you haven't already. This presentation to help with that presentation and to get you thinking about the meeting itself. I won't reiterate the instructions that have been given to you already in the skills assessment tool, but if you have questions, you can always ask me. So I have two goals for this presentation. First, I want to talk to you about the structure of a good, productive mid-semester meeting, and indeed the structure of really any good, productive meeting. Those include things like, what do you need to do to prepare? What should you do at the meeting itself, and how should you follow up? This may feel like review, and it may even feel basic for you. But in my view, it's worth returning to the fundamentals periodically to make sure that you make the best possible impression on your site supervisor and that you get the most from this evaluation meeting. The second goal for this presentation is to talk with you about the skills assessment. What is it? What is it for? What am I supposed to do with it? So let's start with the easy question first. What's part 3 of the skills assessment? Here's what it looks like. I suspect you've seen this before. It's part of your skills assessment tool packet. And all this is a way for me to see a little bit about the outcome of your meeting. Completing this matrix is not the goal of the meeting. Getting a good formative assessment goal. This is simply a way of telling me about the high points of what happened. So it's intended to be very simple. The first two columns just ask you to repeat your goals. What were the goals that you set at the beginning of the semester? You can take that directly from part 2. Then the third column is where you summarize the feedback that you got, any adjustments going forward. That's it. It should be easy. And again, the most important thing that is happening here itself. So let's talk about that. This schematic is intended to describe the stages of a well-planned and executed meeting. It's divided into 3 big groupings. The first is the preparation grouping. That is, what happens before the meeting. The second phase is the execution. What should happen during the meeting? The third phase is the follow-up. What should happen afterward? So let's walk through each. In the preparation phase, the meeting phase, the first thing I suggest you do is identify your goals. What is the outcome that you're looking for from this meeting? Happily for you, we have set one big goal for you for this meeting, and that is assessing your progress toward the goals that you set at the beginning of the semester. Now, you may have other goals as well. You may want to use this meeting as well to ask for more work, to ask for less work, to get some career advice. All of those are completely fine. I just want to make sure that one of your goals is to get that feedback. So first, identify your goals. Second, engage in a little self-assessment of your own. That is, think about how you're doing. How are you moving towards your goals, and how do you know? What can you point to as evidence that you're progressing or not progressing? And what questions do you have about your performance? This is going to focus the meeting on those areas in which you have questions. So you may not need to talk about those areas in which you have a pretty good sense of how you're doing. And then the third phase of the preparation is setting and framing the meeting. It's incredibly important and very easy to overlook. And it has 2 distinct components. First is the setting. How about scheduling the meeting? How long will you reserve? Where will you hold it? All of these things are simple and matter a great deal to the success of your interaction. Everything about the interaction communicates something. So think carefully about how you want to set the meeting. Framing is equally important. This means, what do you want to do at the meeting, and what do you want the meeting to include and not include. The easiest and best way to frame a meeting is to set an agenda. You can do this formally or as informally as you like. I actually like to send my thoughts about the agenda when I set the meeting. This allows the other participant or participants to make additions, to prepare, and it also can signal respect. It says, I am thinking about this meeting in advance and preparing. So all three happen before the meeting itself. And if you do it well, it will make all the difference to the actual execution of the meeting. So during the meeting itself, I recommend beginning with a roadmap, an agenda. If you set it in advance, so much the better. But something like, thanks so much for meeting with me, and I'm looking forward to talking about how the semester is going. I was thinking we could start with X, and then I was hoping to talk also about Y. And if we have time, I was hoping to get some career advice from you. This kind of road mapping can put the other person at ease, and it ensures that you'll get what you need from the meeting. So your next task, once you've set out the agenda, is to engage in some active listening. Remember that the goal of this meeting is for you to get feedback about your performance. So active listening doesn't mean you're silent or passive, but it means that you are engaged actively in trying to understand what your supervisor is communicating to you. So techniques that are commonly associated with active listening include reflecting back to signal understanding, also asking questions. So be sure to try both of these things to the extent comfortable for you. So once the feedback has been shared, there's the possibility of a planning phase. That is, how do you want to focus the second half of the semester? Do you want to adjust your goals? Do you want to adjust some configuration of the tasks? Are there things that you've been dying to do that you haven't gotten a chance to do yet? That can all be part of the planning phase. And then finally, wrapping up. This is the point at which you want to signal that you've understood the conversation. Reflecting back the high points can be a great way of demonstrating that. And keeping an eye on the time signals, again, respect. And you want to make sure that you don't let the meeting go over without checking in and securing the agreement of your supervisor to continue on. If your meeting is shorter than planned, don't feel like you need to extend it if you've gotten what you need. And then finally, follow-up. The follow-up app can make all the difference in the impression that you leave. Who doesn't like getting a thank you note? And it is incredibly easy to do and can make an excellent final impression. So with that, before you engage in your mid-semester meeting, make sure to complete all those 3 preparation steps. Think through your goals, engage in a little bit of self-assessment, and set an agenda. And good luck if you have any questions at all, or if you'd like to talk through the meeting with me, you should always feel free to do that. I'd be happy to do it. So I'm looking forward to reading a little bit about the outcome.